Greetings, bloggers, vloggers, followers, and potters. Dustin here from Dustin's Dynasty with this week's vlog. It's been a busy week, been a very trying week at times, but I'm feeling better on this Friday evening. Mega Millions is supposed to hit tonight, so hopefully we have a winner. I'm gonna stay up a little bit longer. It's about 9:30 on Friday night, so try to stay up an hour and a half to see if I am a winner of some sort. Powerball's also big this week, so hopefully tomorrow we'll see how that goes too. But in all honesty, it has been a challenging week. Very intrusive, very challenging thoughts at times, and also the fact that in reality, having these intrusive thoughts, having these feelings of sort of being childish in nature, even though I am a grown man who's in his late 30s, sometimes in certain situations, when I am particularly by myself or with family, I struggle with the fact of adulting. And that's basically the nutshell of today's vlog. There's we talk about autism. We talk about, many times people autistic individuals are seen by those that care for them or love them as still a child at heart. And very much that can be the case. And there is no disregard for that. Um, as you age, you can still have the feet, the ideals and things of life, but there's also things that you have to do in life. And for me specifically, because I do live on my own, there are things that I I do that I need to do that are part of the necessities of being an adult and living on my own. And they're not all of them are a struggle per se. Some are quite easy, like drop something there, like going to work or just doing some grocery shopping. But I always make a big deal out of things, especially around those I love, or there are things that I think I can change or have the power or will to change. And I simply cannot do that. And instead of just living with the fact that there are things that cannot be changed and that I must endure the current moment in the way that I planned to make it work. It's sometimes hard to accept that, and accepting reality is sometimes hard. And it's not just because I'm autistic, it's something that I have to do in life. And it's a part of what life is as an adult who lives on his own and likes to have a little extra in his life so he can live decently. um it's going through those motions, um whether I like them or not. It's challenging, but and I wouldn't even say that it would be challenging if I was willing to accept it more that than I sometimes do not. Sometimes I want to voice my concern or my frustration with something, and sometimes it's the same old thing basically. And it gets tiring, especially for those that love me and care for me. It gets very exhaustive. It's a rumination, it's a looping thought, and it can be very challenging and very, very hard for those that love and care for me to withstand and understand and accept and deal with. It's very challenging to hear things that are negative all the time. And for me not to have any sort of positive outlook on life, or it can be very hard to have a positive outlook on life, um, but my mind is often always taught to see the negative in things or the struggle in things and look for that sort of, oh, I get you sort of thing, or get back at somebody for the way I feel. It's like a revenge feeling. And in all honesty, having that revenge feeling really doesn't do any good. It's not really helpful, or it doesn't really do its worth for having um for its acceptance and willingness to remedy the situation, any situation for that matter, or make anything better. It doesn't solve the problem. And when you constant, I think the point is, I've been in these ruminating and negative places for a very long time. And when you're taking it out on those that love you and care for you constantly, and when they do anything, most things, let's just say most things, at the stop on a dime, it can be very challenging when you're reciprocating to them your frustration, your hate, and it's not even their fault, or it's not even their reason, and there's no sort of love or empathy for that. And I'm not saying that there isn't any empathy, because in fact in my life there is. I mean, I do some things that are nice, and it's not the way, like many say it's not the way that it's not the traditional way of it being done, but it is done, and sometimes it is accepted and appreciated, but sometimes it's not enough. And that's where we intersect with the challenges of things not willing to be, you know, what they need to be, or, being at the caliber that are meeting the expectations for a positive outcome, when there is nothing but to be positive about things, or at least satisfied with them, instead of constantly finding the negative or challenging moments, and finding what I find as frustrating, or what I might find as a challenge, when it really is not, or really it is beyond the scope of my control, and the ability to find, what I really want. And sometimes you can't get what you want. That's just, there's a reality with that. And I think sometimes, that's where the radical acceptance comes in, and you have to accept things for what they are, whether you like it or not. Some things just can't be changed. And I know that there's, in the autism community, there's a very limited, many individuals have a limited flexibility. Now, granted, it's taken me a long time to have flexibility. It's not been easy, and it still has some bumps in the road, even in recent times. But I want to do better. I don't want to react negatively. I don't want to cause a fuss. I don't want to be the one who's very challenging. And sometimes it's, these catastrophic, or these where your anxiety kicks in, or these flight or fight sort of things. It's very, you want that, your brain is telling you these things, these intrusive thoughts, these very challenging and very intrusive thoughts. And the main thing is, you need to tell them to go away, and you need to focus on something that that can take that energy off of what you're thinking at that moment, because it's very, very challenging when these thoughts are constantly pounding in your head, or you can't think of anything but it, anything but that thought, because it is ruminating and circling, like around and around, like a circling the wagons. It's constant, and sometimes it's hard to go away. And sometimes those thoughts get really, really dark. And I'm not all I'm going to say about it, because it's very challenging. And when they do get dark, it's all you can think about, or it's like the worst case scenario, or you catastrophize, and it's the worst possible. case scenario that you feel you could have, because you don't that in that mindset you don't see any way out of it other than running away from it, or just freezing up and not doing anything. And, that's a little bit of anxiety technique there, but sometimes you have to fight things. And as much as I or anyone may think they're uncomfortable or challenging, um, you just got to fight it. And it's not easy to fight things. I'll be the first to tell you that. And it does include, circling back to being an adult. There are things that, you need to do, you need to do in life. And as such, it can be very challenging, when you have to do things that are unpleasant or may cause additional friction, or maybe and trigger some sensory palate issues. But if you can withstand them for the most part, you can, and you do it. That's just how life is. I mean, there's things, that it's not that it's hard or challenging, or that it's extremely painful. It's just the fact that sometimes I don't want to do them. And as such, it can be very challenging when you want to do something, when you have to do something, and you're expected to do something, or you need to do something, or it's only available during a certain time frame, that it's challenging to get through it, and it's challenging to endure it. And you want to give up, you want to run away from that thought, you want to take your marbles and run, you want to just run away from the problem, or the issue, or the activity, or the event. And part of being an adult is sometimes accepting the things that are you don't want to do, and the things that are expected of the working world, or the world we live in, or the expectations that are met, are needed by someone. You know, it's just the reality of things sometimes. And whether it can be challenging to accept things for what they are, but if you can do them, and you'll do well, then if you rule out all the you plan things, you rule out all the errors, and you do all the social stuff and the social stories and all that business, then you should be okay. It's not easy. It's very challenging at times, and your anxiety is constantly thinking. You're anxious, and you're constantly thinking 20 million things that can go wrong, will go wrong, could go wrong, what would happen, things not working the way that you want them to. But in all honesty, what is that thing? Or or you think you can get through it pretty well. And you have to weigh your options sometimes. But if you feel that you can get through it without an issue, then my goodness, yes, do it. I saw on a Facebook post in one of the groups I'm on, if you're younger, and I do regret missing out on some things, to not miss out on things, and I am in my late 30s, and sometimes, as adults, we get asked to do things, and we choose not to do them because of anxiety, or things that or just overthinking, or what have you, that may pose a challenge for us. And hearing that, thinking, making that a stress, is it real? Sometimes if you have the opportunity to do it. And it's just you just have to, it's just something you have to do in life. There's things you have to do as an adult if you can, and if you have the capability to do them, then by all means do them. I had a conversation this week with a gentleman that I'm meeting with for financial coaching, and he thought he says, well, you're probably more capable of what you think you are, and we're talking, you're talking about future planning to some degree, and you're thinking you may be able to do that, but you don't know, and it draws a lot of anxiety and a lot of thought. There was a lot of questions, and I thought, I have to get through now and adult do things now so that I can maybe do bigger things in the future that require more skill, more responsibility. It's about reaching those little milestones along the way and building yourself up more as time goes on. Because, if you can't fight the small challenges, then what are you going to do, And I think, I have to build those challenges, fight the challenges now, and, fight the demons and get up every morning and go and do what I need to do instead of, you know, being this little brat of a kid, if you will, and fighting, these thoughts with family and close people because I don't get my way or something doesn't go the way I want. And, I think that's a lot of what being autistic, if somebody doesn't know what autism is, it's often perceived as, we're being a bratish little kid and don't get what we want. And even as adults, that we can't conform into the ideals of society or the way that the world thinks it should be because we're not willing to mask or accept things for what they are. And indeed, that does pose a challenge when you're fighting stigma as a person, as an autistic person, trying to fight for your right to do the same things that you want to do in the world, where you want to be, where things are inclusive and accepting. And, it can be hard because people don't recognize things, or they think you're acting like a spoiled little brat because something didn't go your way. It's very challenging, and I see it, even as I do these things with my parents and my loved ones. It's very frustrating to them because it seems like all the time it's me acting as if I want my way, and it can very well be acting like a immature child at times, without a doubt. But in all honesty, is it really going to do anything? Is it really going to make things better? You just have to, there's things in life you just have to do in life and fight through them. And you don't always get what you want in life. There's things you have to do in life too, like work. And for me, especially because I do live on my own and I want that extra. You don't think you sometimes think you don't want it. And then when you want to do things that you have there, you're lucky you have that money there because, you wouldn't be able to do those things without that money. So it's all in how you see it. Whether and it can be a challenge indeed. But it's all in how you see it. So with that being said, I want to thank you for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe to this video. Thank you for all my subscribers. I haven't checked the number yet, but I appreciate everybody who does subscribe to my YouTube channel. So always, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest at Dustin's Dynasty, on the web at DustinsDynastyUSA.com, and I have a link tree. That handle is Dustin's Dynasty. I want to thank you again for listening. Be sure to have a good weekend. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there. And good luck to those playing the lottery. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now.